Hi, I'm Scott Garibay. This is part of my Garibay Brilliant series. And so this series is going to be me just bringing forward things that I think are brilliant, like just really special and really valuable. And so what I want to talk about today are Slate podcasts. So Slate is this really unique group on, actually, I think it was an online magazine that was started. And so I am recommending the Slate podcast specifically, and I'm going to kind of go into depth on this because Slate it's something that's really special to me. It's incredibly valuable, right? So and it's one of the reasons why I'm recommending it. And I really recommend it for pretty much everyone, right? So the reason why is Slate has been really special to me for a lot. The Slate podcasts have been really special to me for a long time, and for the biggest reason is I'm very blessed. I thank my father and my mother. Thank you guys very much for my college education. So I am blessed to have a degree in political science, and then I was fortunate to go to a company that gave tuition reimbursement, and I got a master's in technology management on that company's dime, which is really nice. And really wonderful. If you can get tuition reimbursement, use it. Don't leave money on the table, right? And so Slate's important to me because I miss college, right? So one, I'm really blessed to have. I have a husband. Sorry, I have a wife. I have a husband. I have a wife and 4 kids, and so it's just wonderful. I'm incredibly blessed life, and so I literally living the American dream. I have a wife, 4 kids. I have a house, 2 cars, literally the American dream. And so, I'm truly blessed to have this. Slate's a part of that life, right? This is going to sound strange, but this Slate podcasts are really special to me, right? So I really miss college, right? So in college, I went to Millersville University, and I was on the journalism team there. I was on the school newspaper, right? It was called the Snapper, and it was really fun, and like on Sundays you'd go and you'd work real hard. I wrote the editorials there. Oh man, don't look those up. I was an idiot back in college. I wrote a lot of really conservative um, uh, editorials, which I probably wouldn't stand by all those stances today. And so, but regardless, so I definitely wouldn't stand by many of them. But it taught me how to write, and there was this really special time where we'd go on Sunday and you'd write you'd write your articles, and you'd help literally lay out the paper. You'd take columns of printed text and lay them out on a light table. Woo! That was back in the day. This is back in like 80, 89, 90, right? So, and I loved college. College was really special. It's really wonderful because one of the things that you did was you talked in depth. You used big vocabulary words, and you weren't ashamed to do it. You didn't have to apologize for it. And you talked about politics, and you talked about art, and you talked about culture, and it was really fun. It was really wonderful. So I still do talk about those things, but one of the things I miss is I miss kind of the debate of it, and like a little bit of friction and kind of the rigmarole of it, or it's just kind of give and take of it, right? So. And there was, and you were really kind of forming ideas for the future. And I still do all these things, but when I listen to Slate podcasts, I feel like I'm back in college, right? Because everybody who is on the Slate podcast is highly intelligent. They use big words without apology. They talk about art, culture, and politics, right? And it is brilliant, just brilliant. They have, and that's the other great thing is if you listen to Slate podcasts, you have this wonderful canvas of all of those topics. They do a podcast once a week called the Culture Gab Fest, which covers art. They do the Political Gab Fest. That's my favorite. It's really good. I love them all, but Political Gab Fest is my personal favorite. And the Political Gab Fest is really fantastic. And they do a Double X Gab Fest. This is a Gab Fest all for women. Right, it's completely for women. I listen to it every week. I haven't missed one in like 3 years, right? And they're just brilliant. They really are brilliant. Every single one of these podcasts is brilliant. So every single one of them, they bring a mixed gender team, right? So it's men and women. Unfortunately, it's not mixed race. A lot of Slate people are white, and so they're aware of this problem, and I think they're trying to work on it. But Slate's a pretty white production, and so. It's one of the bad things, but overall, they have a good heart about it. I think they believe in social justice. I think they are trying to fix this problem. And they'll get there, but overall, I'm a huge fan of Slate podcast. So they bring together a really diverse team, right? and they talk about all the things that are major in art, culture, politics that happened that week. They have another one. It's a sports podcast. It's very good. I've listened to it. It's called the Hang Up and Listen podcast. But I'm just hugely not a sports guy. And even Slate realizes that they're the people who listen to their podcast probably aren't huge sport people, so they come at sports in a really odd angle. And every now I'll throw that in the mix, but it's not a bad podcast. I watch sports and I don't understand what the difference is between one game to the next. And or I guess I understand. It's just I'm kind of indifferent to it. The sports aren't my thing, right? So. But they do have a good sports podcast. If you like sports, it comes from a different angle. That one's good as well. And they have a great movie review podcast. The Slate podcasts are just invaluable. They're really, really wonderful. Now I've been blessed. I've been blessed by this podcast so much because I actually think one of the other things it helps me do is I no longer listen to daily news. I don't turn on the 6:30. Who's still watching the 6:30 news or the 11 o'clock news? World's changed. We have 24-hour news, right? So there's also 24-hour news. So I stopped, watching the 11 o'clock news a long time ago, the daily news. And then in addition to that, when 9/11 occurred, I watched that for 6 weeks. I think everybody in the nation did, and I was literally sick. It was like eating 3 pounds of fudge. It was just like it was bad. It made me sick, and I did not like it. And I thought I need to change the way I'm intaking news. So the Slate Political Gabfest, they will deal with every single news topic, and if they don't, the art one, the Culture Gabfest will. They'll cover culture and art stories, and so I listen to these once a week, and I get a great synopsis of what is going on in the world. And they deliver it with humor, they deliver it with care, they deliver it with intelligence, and it's incredibly valuable to me because it frees me up from having to listen to, CNN and these constant news spouts that just come forward and in my opinion don't deliver the news with as much care, as much humor, as much intelligence as Slate delivers news. And so Slate podcasts are a wonderful news delivery service which can really help you portion what you're taking in. And also they're very, it's a podcast, right? So I don't have to see dead bodies, coming off of C5s, and I don't have to see, car chases and violence and all the things that the television is putting on to get ratings. These guys get rating in a different way. They get ratings through brilliance. Their podcasts are just brilliant. And so the Slate podcasts are precious to me, and I listen to them every week. And I've even gone further, and I've gone and seen the the political Gabfest. David Plotz and I can't remember the other two's names. So I'm sorry about that. I hear them every single week, and there's a few, and so I've seen them 3 times in person. And so they do these live Gabfests, and the tickets are ridiculously cheap. They're like $11 or something. And really, the only cost is real time and is the time and the is the time to go and drive there, right? And I'm pretty convinced, like, if you didn't have enough money to go, but you were super interested, you could probably, tell me, good grief, I'll pay for your ticket. If you don't have enough money to go to a Slate, a live Gabfest, so my point is they're free. That's my point. But dude, hit me up in the comments if you're trying to go and you don't have enough. Because if you're interested in Slate and you want to see them live, man, see them. Make the trip. I've driven down. I live in Upper Eastern state, Upper East Side of America, and I've driven like 200 miles to go see these guys live, and I've done it 3 times. One time I got lucky and I was on a business trip, so I could just had to go 20 miles. But they're brilliant. They're just really, really great. And so Slate is something really special. What they're doing is really wonderful. And so it's really just a wonderful thing, and I would highly encourage you to check out all of their podcasts and use it because it will make you a more rounded person, make you be able to speak on topics better. I know a lot of politicians' names. I know what good movies are coming out, generally. Ones that are critically acclaimed, not just, I know the blockbusters on my own, and so I've seen movies I wouldn't have seen, so it's really a precious thing, and you should definitely check it out. Slate podcasts are brilliant.